I'd like to send a very big thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I have a very special video for you today for many reasons, but first and foremost, this video is being very kindly sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online service that matches you to your own therapist with your own needs and wants in mind, which I think is a wonderful thing to provide, especially because I have suffered a lot with anxiety. For everyone's own personal journey, we're all in different places, and I think it's so important for all of us to find help when we need it, and I think it's so important to just talk to people. So if you don't have people in your life that you feel comfortable enough to talk to, BetterHelp is a wonderful resource that I am really excited to tell you guys about. I don't often do sponsorships, but when I do, I want to make sure that it's with sponsors that I'm happy and passionate to talk about. So I'm really passionate about mental health, and I thought that this vlog is all about my experience dealing with rejection as a creative person, how you turn that into something positive, and also just being kind to yourself. And I'm just so happy to be talking to you guys about BetterHelp. So like I said, BetterHelp will match you to your own personal licensed professional therapist after you fill out their questionnaire, which gears towards matching you to the perfect therapist. You can answer a bunch of their questions just so that they know the perfect match for you. And you can even start communicating with your therapist within 48 hours. It's not a crisis line and it's not self-help, it is professional therapy done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network, which may not be locally available in many areas, so that gives a lot of people the chance to find therapy that may not be able to, depending on where you live. Which means that it's available worldwide, which I think is wonderful because in certain cases, some people might not be able to have access to someone to talk to or to a licensed professional therapist. So BetterHelp is giving you that chance to get the help that you may need. You can log on anytime and send a message to your therapist. You can even schedule weekly video or phone messages so you don't have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. They make it easy and free for you to change your therapist at any time if you would like. The best part is that it is much more affordable than offline therapy, and they do provide financial aid, which is, I think, so important for a lot of especially young people or just people in general that might not have the finances and the means to get help or to at least afford help when they really may need it. If this sounds like something that is perfect for you and you would like to talk to a professional therapist online in a much more comforting space and you can kind of take control of your own mental health, then you can visit betterhelp.com/CarolynMarieReads. That is BetterHelp, HELP. The best part is that you guys can get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp if you use the link in my description. I am so happy that I'm able to give that to you guys, and I just think that it's so important to talk to people and join the 2 million people that are taking charge of their mental health and talking to a professional therapist. I've always been an advocate for expressing your emotions and expressing how you feel because that's how we get through a lot of our challenges. It creates awareness that is so important, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about not only the struggles that I have been going through recently, but also how I've overcome my struggles and also some incredibly exciting news that I still still can't believe I get to share with you, and this is kind of my way of sharing these more personal parts of myself with you, but I'm really happy that I get to do that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and definitely visit the link in the description if that sounds like something that would help you a lot. And again, thank you so much BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. For the past few months, I have been in a creative fog. It kind of started at a time where I was rejected from something. I've figured out along the way how you can take rejection and use it as a point of redirection, and it can lead you to better things, and that sometimes the things that we wish went in a more positive way happen that way for a reason. And I've always believed that things happen for a reason, and I really do think that that is so much of life, is you want something to go a certain way, and when it doesn't, we of course are upset by that. That's just natural, but it's usually for the best. But we don't realize that until we look back on it retrospectively. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to update you guys on my book. I do want to say really quickly before I begin talking about my book, a few days ago I posted my video where I narrated and illustrated my short story, The Icicle. I can't believe how well it was received. I can't believe how kind you all are. So many of you said that the short story made you cry and that you didn't expect it to make you cry. So I'm very sorry that I made you cry, but I hope that they were good tears. And I always feel like the books and stories that make me cry are usually the ones that stick with me the longest, so hopefully it will stick with you as well. Anyway, so you guys were leaving me the kindest messages, the kindest comments, and it's so incredible, and I feel so lucky to be able to have people that want to read my work and that are so kind enough to give me positive feedback, because it means more than I'll ever be able to say. And I'm very good with words. Or at least I believe I am good with words, and I always feel like I have words to say, but your words genuinely left me speechless, and I made you cry with my story, and you guys made me cry with your positivity and your comments and your enthusiasm and your encouragement, and how you guys were talking about how you can't wait to read more writing from me. And that's just something that I don't think will ever be normal or not incredibly magnificent to me. The fact that there are people in the world that have read a story that I've written, and hopefully more stories that I will write in the future. So I just wanted to send you the absolutely biggest thank you. And then the craziest thing happened yesterday. There are many different dreams that I have that connect to being a writer, illustrator, and reader. One of them is seeing my name and my book on Goodreads. And I got this comment yesterday from a wonderful person named Mayra, and she so kindly, I didn't even think of doing this myself, I didn't even realize you could do this, but she added my book on Goodreads so that you guys, whoever read it, could review it, add it to your Goodreads challenge, and make it appear on Goodreads and make it a real book, which I put air quotes because, you know, it's not a physical book and it's online and you can listen to the audiobook version, which I narrate myself as my video, but seeing my name and my illustration on Goodreads and the little synopsis that she wrote for it, and then all of your reviews, I was so emotional. And because it's one of those things that I have these dreams and these aspirations, and you guys are making them come true. You make me a freelance illustrator. You give me the encouragement that I always need. And you made one of my dreams come true with being an author on Goodreads. What? What? If you've read or listened to my short story, The Icicle, and you would like to leave a review or a rating and make it part of your Goodreads challenge for 2022, that would mean more than I can ever say. So I will leave a link in the description if you would like to I just can't believe that that happened. My Aunt B actually told me about it. I didn't even see the comments. My Aunt B, who is one of my biggest supporters. I love you so much, Aunt B. And Mayra, thank you so much for making one of my dreams come true. And for all of you for leaving such kind reviews and comments and ratings. It's crazy. It's crazy. I never thought that would... I mean, I always hoped that that would happen for me, but I never imagined me posting my short story that's just supposed to be a little part of my portfolio would have such an effect on you guys and now make me a Goodreads author. So wild, absolutely wild. Here is the original drawing, which I thought I would just show you guys. Hold it up. A lot of you asked me if I was going to be selling this as a print on my Etsy shop, and I would like to ask you, would you like to own a copy or a print of the icicle illustration? And I will very gladly provide that for you. So let me know if that's something that you would like to have, and I would love to write and create a short story collection someday and have the icicle be a part of it and maybe get it published. So we'll see. But if you'd like maybe an original print of it, let me know. I could sign them. Would that be something you're interested in as well? Yeah, let me know what you want and I will gladly give that to you. But anyway, I got to this point because I was rejected from a writing program. I never wanted to be the kind of person that got everything handed to me, because throughout high school and college, I have been very lucky to receive recognition for the work that I have done. And it's always been something that I'm so proud of, but I never wanted it to get to my head to the point where I always compare myself to Rory Gilmore in a way where she gets a lot of things handed to her, and when like one thing doesn't go right, she kind of freaks out and makes a really big decision based on one person's criticism instead of persevering through that criticism and I guess reflecting on it and figuring out the best way to go on. She kind of just freaks out. I never wanted to be a Rory Gilmore type where I got everything handed to me and then one thing doesn't go the way that I want and I freak out. Of course I was upset by getting rejected. So basically, the original story that I approached you guys about in this video where I talked to you about me writing a book, becoming a freelance illustrator, and dealing with life after graduation, and dealing with life as a freelance illustrator, I was working on this story that had a full cast of characters that were all anthropomorphic animals. And I loved it, and I was so proud of it, and I loved how it was coming out, and I wanted to work on it in this writing program. And so I sent it out to this writing program. It's a worldwide writing program. Thousands of people apply for it. It was a really small chance of me getting in. They only accepted like 15 people out of the entire world. So the chances of me getting in this class were very slim, and I kind of had a feeling that I wouldn't get in, but that's okay. Anyway, so I wasn't accepted, which is completely fine, but I was affected by it in a way where it did kind of discourage me a bit, and I was questioning, is this the story that I want to tell? Is this... If I'm working on my debut novel, this is my debut, this is what I'm going to give people that are going to picture me as a writer and illustrator as this book. I want it to be the best that it can be. I want it to be everything that I envision it to be. And I think it was for the best that I got rejected, because if I was accepted, I would still be working on this story that wasn't the best that it could have been. And although I loved the concept, I've written so many stories that have had the same concept in different structures, and I am finally working on, I think, the perfect structure for my book. But I had to figure that out through getting rejected, so it led to this redirection. So that's my whole idea for this video, is rejection and redirection, and how we can take rejection as a creative person in any capacity and how we deal with that as emotional beings. So my main idea is to persevere. Whether you're going through something and it hasn't gone the way that you expect, or you put yourself out there to be vulnerable and things didn't go the way that you would hope, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to be okay, and that is okay, and it will lead you to better things. It will make sense eventually. I know at the time it's so upsetting. I was so upset, but now I'm so grateful and thankful that that happened, because like I said, if I was accepted, I would be working on a book that wasn't really going the way that I hoped it would. Now that I'm able to say that I'm working on this story that is everything that I hoped it would be and everything that the other story wasn't. And yeah, so this vlog is going to be me sort of talking to you guys about what I'm working on, update you guys on my freelance life. I have an Etsy restock planned for tomorrow, which I'm so excited about. My short story was so well received. I'm working on a book that I'm so proud of, and I wanted to film in the time that I was in the fog talking about it, but I didn't really know what I was feeling and how to talk about it. So now that I do know what I was feeling and how I would like to talk about it, that's why I'm talking about it to you now. Because I think having clarity, retrospective clarity, helps a lot with dealing with certain situations. Yes, that is my little introduction. It's quite long. I have been getting ready for my Etsy restock. I have been working on new author portraits, which are right here, and I have also been pondering different short stories that I can give to you guys, like I gave you the icicle. So anyway, I hope you're excited for this vlog. I am so excited to talk to you guys about these things, and just know the main idea of this video is that rejection can be a good thing, and the power that you hold is the way that you redirect yourself to make lemonade out of lemons, as the cliche goes. And I hope this video helps you in some way and comforts you and acts as a nice warm embrace, like the warm embrace from the icicle. So yes, I will see you very soon, where I talk to you more about all these things. everyone. So a bit of time has passed. I have been really busy recently, which is a good thing. It's been good busy. And I have some incredibly exciting news that I can't believe I get to share with you. Today is March 23rd. I found out about this yesterday, March 22nd, and I have been in a daze because I feel like this is a joke and that this didn't actually happen. But anyway, so I have some really exciting news, and it's a bit of a long story, so buckle your seatbelts and get ready for a wild ride. Okay, so if you don't know, I went to school at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. I went for illustration and I got my minor in writing. And it was a wonderful experience. I loved my classes, and because of COVID, the last year and a half of my schooling was all online, which I honestly didn't mind because I work well from home, but of course I did miss meeting with my professors in person and having that normalcy. But before COVID, we would take field trips to this place called the Society of Illustrators, and the Society of Illustrators is basically a museum and gallery and kind of the headquarters, I guess you could say, of the illustration world in New York City and in the US, really. They have wonderful exhibitions going on all the time. They have different sketch nights and different events happening all the time. They have a lot of different awards and ceremonies and gallery showings, and it's a wonderful place with a lot going on, and it's like an illustration museum pretty much. And we would go and visit all the time for different exhibitions. A lot of book design would actually be on display, so I have seen a lot of book covers, the original art to a lot of book covers in person, which is really exciting, and they always tell the title of the piece, the illustrator and artist that did it, the art director, the publishing company, and the medium, so whether it's digital, oil, acrylic, graphite, whatever it is, that's just the information that they always share. And I have been going to the Society of Illustrators for so long and seeing these beautiful works of art and admiring all the artists that were on display there. And every year they do a student scholarship competition. It's this really big scholarship that's open to the entirety of the US and Canada, I believe, and it's basically where the administration, the professors and chairpersons of the illustration programs from schools all in the US and Canada can submit their students' work to get chosen to be in an exhibition and to win possible awards. And I don't even know how to say this. So my amazing professor, his name is Cam Mack. He is an incredible painter, and he was my professor for the project that I did of the Red Rabbit for my redesigned illustration book cover for Alice in Wonderland. I did a whole YouTube video on it, so if you want to hear my whole process and the thought behind it, and an author portrait of Lewis Carroll, I really am so proud of that video, so if you haven't watched it and you want to, definitely watch it. So anyway, I had this amazing professor for that project. About a month ago, or maybe more than a month ago, my professor emailed me and said that he is accepting submissions because you have to submit your artwork to your professor or the chairperson, and then they submit it to the Society of Illustrators. And then it gets judged by a panel, and they pick out of thousands, I think 150 people get chosen to be in the show, and then a few people out of the 150 get awards and scholarships and recognition. So anyway, so he told me that I should submit my Red Rabbit painting for the scholarship. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm so glad that you think that it's worthy of being submitted. I don't know why, but I forgot to submit it to him. And by the time I remembered, I think it was the day after the submission window closed. And I was so upset with myself, and I couldn't believe that I forgot. And I was saying to myself, well, you know what? Do you really think that you would get in? There are so many talented students that submit to it, and I think it's because when it comes to my artwork, I've been doing it for forever, and it's just like breathing to me. Like, I can't help but create artwork. I can't help but tell stories because it's what I've always done. It's what I've always wanted to do. So it's not like people will give you an award for breathing. So that's kind of how I've been explaining how I feel. Anyway, so I was kind of upset that I missed the submission window, but I didn't think anything of it, and I thought that my chances of getting it were so low. So then I forgot about it, and this was about a month ago. And then yesterday I get a message from my professor, the one that I did the red rabbit painting for, and he told me to give him a call because he has something very important to tell me, and I was a little nervous. I didn't know what he was going to say. I honestly thought that he was going to yell at me for missing the submission window. So I gave him a call, and the first thing that he said was that I didn't submit my painting, and so he told me that he submitted it for me, which I thought was incredible that he took it upon himself to submit the piece for me. I had no idea that he did that. This was the first that I was hearing that he submitted it for me, and then he told me that he's in a meeting right now. He just heard that he thinks I won the top prize for the Society of Illustrators competition. And I started hyperventilating. I couldn't believe it. I thought he was joking. I just could not believe what I was hearing. So he said that he would give me a call back in about a half an hour and he would let me know for sure if I won. And so I was freaking out because I didn't even know that he submitted my work. I couldn't believe that it was a possibility that I could have won the first place top prize. For my red rabbit, for my bunny. I was so proud of that piece. It was the piece that I did right before I graduated. I put my heart and soul into it, and I feel like you guys were a part of the process with me because I shared so much of it with you, and it just meant so much to me, that painting. So for it to be recognized in that way would be amazing. I think the thing that I was freaking out about the most was not only the scholarship that is given with this award, but the exposure that this could give me, because on their website they did say, here, I'll read it to you. How about that? Okay, so this is what it says on their website. So, student scholarship competition call for entries. So this is what it says for when they want people to enter. Presenting the premier showcase for college-level illustration and animation students. Every year since 1981, the Society of Illustrators has recognized top students throughout the world through an exhibit, catalog, reception, and scholarship awards. This year, the exhibit and reception will be hosted virtually and in person. And now is your chance to have your best students represent your school and gain the attention online from our visitors, including publishers, designers, art directors, curators, and art buyers. So this could be a really big deal if I won, for me to, I guess, for my name and my work to be in the eyes of publishers, especially because I am a freelance illustrator and writer, and my hope and my dream in life is to write books and to illustrate books. So this could just be a really big launching pad for my career, which just is a bit scary. It's a bit scary, but it's so exciting. So for the half an hour between me finding out that he submitted my work and hearing if I actually got the top prize, I was hyperventilating, freaking out. A half an hour later, I get an email from my professor, and he is congratulating me for getting the top prize, first place in the 2022 Society of Illustrators student competition. And I just started hysterically crying. I could not. I thought I was being punked. I really did. And I'm not just saying that. I thought that it was a joke. And I just started crying. I just couldn't believe it, because this is something that could really be a turning point for me, and we'll see what happens from here. I don't really know what the future holds, and none of us knows what the future holds, but this is something that could be really impactful in my life. I'm still waiting to hear what the next steps are. I think I'm going to have to bring my painting into New York City. I haven't been back to the city since leaving in 2020 because of COVID. So I am really excited to get back to the city, but I'm also really nervous about the events that are going to be taking place because I'm just a shy person, but I am incredibly excited and incredibly honored, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel so shocked and thrilled and just in disbelief and speechless because there are so many talented people that I went to school with. There are so many talented people in the world, and I think with social media it's so hard not to compare yourself and your artwork to other people and other people's artwork, and to sort of be your own artist and be your own person and not compare yourself and think that all these other people are better than you, because it's really just, I try not to see it as people are better than me, then people have different styles than I do, different abilities than I do, and we each have our own strengths in our own ways. And so I'm trying to sort of grapple with all of these feelings. I don't really know what to do with myself. Yesterday, after finding out that I did win, I took Willow for a walk. I told all my family and friends, and I was just in a daze, in an absolute daze, and I wanted to commemorate the occasion by doing something special. And I thought one way that I could commemorate the day was I could go to the bookstore and buy a special copy of Alice in Wonderland so that I could remember that this is the edition that I got when I found out that my Alice in Wonderland book cover redesign won the Society of Illustrated Student competition. So the edition that I picked, I don't think any of you will be surprised by which edition of Alice in Wonderland I chose. It is the cloth-bound edition designed by my amazing mentor who mentored me for one of my classes, Coralie Bickford Smith, which was also a dream come true, the fact that she even was my mentor for one of my classes in my senior year. I thought that this would be quite fitting and a wonderful way to remember, so I think I'm going to write a little note on the inside just to remind my future self. I doubt I will ever forget. Yes, so that's how I celebrated, and I am having some people over, some family over tonight to have dinner together and to have a little celebration for me. This is just a really big deal, and I don't really know how to feel. I don't really know how to feel. So I wanted to sort of document it, tell you guys about it, and have this memory for myself to look back on, and maybe when times get tough to remind myself of the honor that I was given and how grateful I am. And I'm really excited to see what happens from here, and hopefully all good things. Hopefully all good things. But yes, so I don't really know what else to say. I am just absolutely flabbergasted. I don't use that word in my normal everyday life. Pretty much sums up how I'm feeling, is flabbergasted and honored and in disbelief. So yes, I thought I would let you guys know the exciting news, and it is going to be framed and on exhibition, so you guys can go see it if you're in the city. I don't know when exactly it will be on display, but if any of you are in New York City and you want to see my Red Rabbit painting in person, then that could be something that you could do. I really don't know if that's anything you would want to do, but thought I'd let you know just in case. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm going to just continue to stare out into the abyss, and very happy that I get to be able to document my life and share the good bits and the bad bits. The good bits are much more fun to share, so I'm really excited to tell you guys about this. And yeah, so I will update you guys again soon with this vlog, because I do have a few more things that I want to share and talk about, especially my book that I'm working on, because I am making some pretty good progress with it, and I want to tell you more about it. So anyway, I will talk to you guys very soon, and thank you so much for being a part of my life, and I'm so happy I get to share this news with you. everyone, and welcome to a new day. I thought it was about time that we talked about my reading slump and some books that I have here, and also how that ties into my writing process and how I am so incredibly happy with how my book is coming along, and I can't wait to talk to you guys a bit about it. I thought I would start talking about my reading slump because my reading slump, like I said, ties into my writing and my struggle with writing for the past few months. So the past few months I have been trying to figure out my story and trying to figure out what is the story that I want to tell, because I have been writing my entire life. I have been making up stories my entire life. I'm always writing. Same thing, I'm always drawing. I'm always creating stories in my mind. And I think the hardest thing for me as a newly freelance illustrator after graduating from school is, what is the story that I want to tell? I have written so many stories. I have so many stories that I want to tell, but which one should I put all of my energy into, and which one is everything? And that has been a really hard question to answer for me, which is something that I wasn't expecting to feel. But the thing that has helped me above all else has actually been listening to other writers and hearing about other people's journeys and perspectives, and knowing that it's not easy. It's not an easy thing. And so something that I love doing is going on YouTube and looking up different interviews with my favorite authors, where I learn a bit more about their writing journey, and what it reveals to me always, not only is it inspiring, but it reveals the truth that even for my favorite writers that I think, oh my gosh, they do it so simply, they do it so beautifully, and it seems so effortless, it's really hard for them as well, and everyone has their own struggles when it comes to writing. So that has really been helping me. But anyway, going back to a reading slump, because of this struggle with my writing, it has really made me not want to read anything, because I felt so stuck with my own book that I couldn't really enjoy other books, and I couldn't really take anything from other books because I just kept referencing them to my own story, and how my own story wasn't really going the way that I was hoping or that I was expecting until now, which is amazing. So last that I really told you guys was that my story was about anthropomorphic animals, which is basically animals that have human qualities. And although I do love anthropomorphic animals and I would love to do a book with anthropomorphic animals in it, there are animals in the book that I'm currently writing as well, but a bit different, a bit more realistic. So that's changed. My story now has humans in it, which all of my other stories have had humans in it, except for the one that I was telling you guys about that had only anthropomorphic animals. It was missing something wasn't there, my heart wasn't completely in it. I knew that I needed to figure that out, and I finally have, which is great. But I think the thing with me is it's always instinct, and it's always following my heart, following my gut and my feeling, which always steers me in the right direction. And so how that relates to my reading is because now that I have figured out my writing, it has made me want to read more, and like I said about researching about different authors, I go through these stages of deep diving into different authors. I love learning about authors. I love learning about their stories, which is why I have my author portraits. Obviously, I am fascinated by authors and by their lives and how their lives affect their books. To put it in my own perspective, my life, you can't help but put yourself in your writing. You can't help but put yourself in your books, and I guess write the story that you always wished existed for your younger self if you write for children. So doing this research about these different writers is really what made me want to read again, because I loved listening to what they had to say about writing in their own books, and it made me want to read the books that they were talking about writing. And so the two authors that I have been deep diving into currently, it has been E.B. White and Kate DiCamillo. I have loved Kate DiCamillo since I was a very, very little kid, and I see a lot of myself in her. I feel like every time I research about a writer, I see a lot of myself in the writer, which I don't know what that says about me. I guess I'm not incredibly unique because I see so much of myself in these other people. which is wonderful to feel like you have kindred spirits. So I have been reading a lot of E.B. White and a lot of Kate DiCamillo recently, and I actually just went to the bookstore today to pick up a book from each of them. And I'm currently reading, I'll show you, it is The Tiger Rising by Kate DiCamillo. It's a really short novel, and I'm only at the very beginning, but I am loving it so much. I love her writing so much. She's one of my biggest inspirations, which I have so many inspirations. If you watch my videos, you'll hear me say that quite a lot about quite a lot of different people. So the book that I picked up today by her is Raimi Nightingale. She always talks about how the writing process for her is really challenging, but the easiest thing for her is to name characters. And I love the name Raimi Nightingale. I think that that's such a wonderful name. And she read a bit of the beginning of this book in one of these videos, and I loved it so much, so I wanted to go out and pick the book up myself, and hopefully I'll read this very soon. And the other book that I picked up today is Essays of E.B. White. I was doing a lot of research about E.B. White. I talked a little bit about this in my recent reads video. He was an essayist and a journalist, as well as a writer for children's books. He wrote 3 children's books, and I also picked up recently The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White because I actually didn't own a copy and I had never read it before as a kid, but I read it recently. I actually listened to the audiobook, which E.B. White narrates himself, and his voice is just amazing. I loved it. Trumpet of the Swan is a really heartwarming story about this swan who is born without a voice, and so he has to go about his life trying to communicate without a voice, and how this human named Sam tries to help him in some way, and it's about their journey together, and it's a beautiful kind of The Ugly Duckling style story by Hans Christian Andersen, The Ugly Duckling, and that's another one of my favorites, but it was beautiful and I really loved it. And doing all my research about E.B. White made me want to read more of his non-children's work, his essays, and so I stumbled upon this book online, and then I saw it today at the bookstore and I was so excited. Yes! Oh my gosh, they do have Once More to the Lake. Once More to the Lake is a short story that I recently listened to on YouTube. I talked about this in my recent reads video that I fell in love with, and now I have it in book form. Oh, I'm so glad because I really wanted to reread that. So this has a bunch of wonderful things in it. That's the contents. So E.B. White was mainly known for his children's work, but also for his essays and the writings that he did for adults as well as children. So that's what's in there. What I've been loving is that my reading slump is finally over because I finally have been figuring out my own story. I'm so happy with how it's going. It's really just me in a book. This book is just, the one that I'm writing is just me in a book. And I think what I've realized is that that's what all writing is. It is the authors putting themselves, there's a little fly in here. Then it's the authors putting themselves in their work. For instance, my favorite adult book of all time is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, as you all know. And Leo Tolstoy basically wrote himself as Levin. And if you look at almost all novelists, there is at least one character in one of their books that is a version of themselves. Charles Dickens, he wrote David Copperfield. Louisa May Alcott, she was basically Jo March. I can rattle off so many examples, but those are the books and the authors that have really been helping me and really been inspiring me. What can I say about my book? I don't want to give too much away. It is going to be a book of words and pictures, which I'm really, really excited about. I am still in the process of designing my characters visually as well as in words, and I have them named. I have the first few chapters written and I am just incredibly excited. I can tell you that it is historical. What else? I don't want to give too much away, but I think, oh, something else that I wanted to talk about is making time for reading and making time for writing and making time for drawing, because something that I have struggled with a lot after graduation is making time for all the things that I do. Because I do a lot of things. I film videos, I edit videos, I upload videos, I'm in book clubs, I am an Etsy shop owner, I am a freelance illustrator, I have to wrap my orders and send my orders, I have to write my book and read books and live my life and have a social life, which I find very difficult. But what I did recently, and I showed you guys in a clip, was I got a planner. I will go grab it. So I'll just show you guys what it looks like, just blank. I don't have anything written on it right now. But what I've been doing is writing out my entire week so that I make sure that I have enough time to do everything. I heard this from Kate DiCamillo, and Kate DiCamillo says that she writes 2 pages every day, and she says that her advice for young writers and writers in general is to give yourself a goal, an achievable goal, and you'll always make sure that you have time for that. And if you make it part of your routine, it'll be easier to make it a habit. And so that's what I have been doing. I haven't really given myself a page count. I have just been making sure that I give myself at least an hour every day to writing, which usually 1 hour leads to many hours of writing, because when inspiration hits, it hits hard, and I have a hard time stopping, which is good and also bad if I have to do other things. And then something else that I've been trying to do is make sure that I read something every day, whether it's 1 chapter or more than 1 chapter, just making sure that I either listen to an audiobook or physically read something. Even if it's 1 poem, just read something every single day. Finding a routine that works for you is the answer to all of these scheduling problems. And I think just figuring out when you work best, when inspiration usually hits you, when you have a bit of time. And I try not to put too much pressure on myself either. If I don't get something done, it's not the end of the world. And I have to remind myself that, because I am doing quite a lot of things in my day. What I always remind myself as well is I love what I'm doing. And even though it can be overwhelming and frustrating because sometimes I feel like there aren't enough hours in the day for me to do everything that I want to do. That's a beautiful problem to have, because I love doing everything that I'm doing, and I'm so glad that I get to do all of these different things that I enjoy so much. So it's me complaining, but also being grateful at the same time. Being grateful while complaining. I don't know if any of this will resonate with you, or if you just like hearing about my journey, because I know that's why I love watching the different videos of other authors, is because I just feel a lot of comfort when I hear other people's writing journeys and just their journeys in general. It makes me feel better, and hopefully it'll make you feel better to feel like you're not the only one going through maybe similar things that I'm going through, or that someone else is going through. And just being nice to yourself, I think is really so important, and something that I don't think is enforced enough in life. It's just be kind to yourself, because I was getting so down on myself for having such struggles with my writing and being in a reading slump and getting rejected from that writing course, and I was just getting really down on myself, and I think that that's so unfair. And I'm sure many of you are like me, where you are your own worst critic. I hope you're nice to yourself. And like I said earlier, rejection is just part of life. There is no writer or artist or just person in general that hasn't gone through some time of rejection, and we can't have success without rejection, just as we can't have happiness without sorrow. We can't have joy without pain, because the other makes us know what the other is. We wouldn't know what success is if we didn't know what failure was, or I guess what adversity was. And like I'm still freaking out about winning the Society of Illustrators Student Scholarship competition. I still am in shock, and it's been a few days now, and that feels so good, and I'm so happy and overjoyed and honored, and I wouldn't feel that way if I didn't know what the other feeling was of putting yourself out there and it not going as well, and you not winning, and you being rejected. Anyway, this is my incredibly long ramble about my reading slump, my writing, scheduling, making time for things, being nice to yourself, what I've been reading, how I've been doing. I don't really know, but anyway, this video is getting pretty long, so I think I am going to close it out here. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to me talk about being a freelance writer and illustrator, and just thank you so much for being on this journey with me. Thank you for all of your kind words about me winning the scholarship, because I just posted about it on Instagram yesterday, and that was amazing. I woke up to so many messages of congratulations, and it's just meant the world to me. Just thank you so much for being part of my life and for being the greatest group of people ever. So I hope you enjoyed this video, got something out of it. I hope you're excited for what's to come with my writing and my illustrating, and I'm just so happy that I get to, I don't know, that I get to share my life with you guys in this way. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm sending you my warmest wishes, and I will see you soon in another video. Happy reading and happy creating, and just, I don't know, just hope you're happy. And again, thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video.